All right, welcome to your Level 3 Regents Study Guide. I know you're hyped about this. This is everyone's favorite unit, including my own, and we're about to get down and dirty with this one. First thing we have to review are two most important formulas from this unit. The first one's the slope formula, the second one's the midpoint formula. As a little reminder, slope is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Midpoint formula, we're going to put a nice big M there. That's x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, oh, I'm not going to fit this in. I'm going to try y1 plus y2 over 2. I did it. That's amazing. If you can't read this, just go look it up. So you have these two problems right here. Find the slope with these 2 points and find the midpoint using these 2 points. Now, believe it or not, but for this question, if you use the slope formula, you'll find out what the slope is. And for this question, if you use the midpoint formula, you'll find out what the midpoint is. I know you think I'm going to solve it for you right now, but I'm not. A little more review. You have the lines represented by 3x minus 2y equals 10 and 8y plus 2 equals 12x. Are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or askew? You might remember, to figure this out, you must put these into y equals mx plus b form. Why do we do that? So we can find out what the slope is. When they're not in y equals mx plus b form, you cannot find the slope. I know you think I'm going to do this one for you. I will. This one I'll help you out with. So we're going to find the slope of these two lines, look at them, and then we can figure out what the answer is. So the first one is 3x minus 2y equals 10. Here's a little tip for you. Put a circle around your y. That means this has to stay, and we're going to move everything else to the other side. So let's subtract 3x onto the other side, because we got to get y by itself. We move it to the other side, cancels out, negative 2y comes down. Don't forget that negative. It's a negative 2y, not just a 2y. And here, 10 and 3x aren't like terms, so we're just going to write negative 3x plus 10. Second step, what do we have to do? Divide everything by negative 2y. Once again, this is the region, so you have to keep those negatives in there. If you don't put the negative there, then you will get this wrong. So y equals negative 3 divided by negative 2. These are both negative, so it just becomes positive 3 over 2x minus 5. So what is the slope of this one? That's right, 3 over 2. It's whatever's in front of your x. Now you just have to do this again for this guy over here, find out the slope, and you can answer this question. I know you think I'm going to find the slope of this one for you. I won't. Do it yourself. Tell me what the answer is. Third kind of question that you're going to be looking at. This is the one where it tells you it wants a line perpendicular and it goes through a point. So they give you an equation and a point, and you have to come up with a new equation. To come up with your new equation, the two things you have to find are the slope, or your m, that's your slope, and you also have to find your b, and that is your y-intercept. When you find these two things, intercept, that was way off. When you find out your m and your b, you just plug it in here, and that will be your new equation. How do you do that? Well, the first part is the slope part. And if you look right here, if we want a perpendicular slope to this line, we have to flip this and make it negative. So if the slope of this line is 2, our perpendicular slope, if we flip it over and negate it, is negative 1 over 2. We then use our point as our x and y. You might remember this. We do mxy. We use x and y as 4 and 1. And now we plug it into this to find out what b is. So this would just be 1 equals negative 1/2 times 4 plus b. We're going to solve for b, and when we find out what b is, we can write our final equation. I know you think I'm going to solve this for you. I'm not. Do it yourself. If you don't remember, go to lesson 3.4. It's there for you. And that's why we keep our notes. Hope you didn't lose them. This one, it's a solution of a systems of equations question. When you see this question and you are given two equations, this is our first equation and this is our second equation, all you have to do when you're given these two equations is plug it into the calculator and see where they intersect. it should look something like this. A parabola with a line through it. This is your parabola. You know that because it has a square. And this is a straight line. The 2 points of intersection are your answers. So all you have to do is put it in the calculator. How easy is that? You should never get these wrong. Ever, 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 ever. Finally, perpendicular bisectors, how to find them. They're actually very similar to this kind of question, but you have to do two things first. The first thing to find the perpendicular bisector of line AB is to find the slope. Why do you find the slope? Well, so you can find out what the perpendicular slope would be. And the second thing you need to do is find the midpoint. Once you find the slope and the midpoint, you just do exactly what you did in this one. Same exact thing. You find your mxy, plug it into y equals mx plus b, and you're good to go. In this case, your slope will end up being negative 1/4, and your midpoint will be 6.3. All right, and you just use the slope formula for this. That's why you put that over there, and your midpoint formula for this. Now that you have this information, you have to make your equation. The perpendicular bisector is going to have a perpendicular slope. If the slope of AB is negative 1/4, our perpendicular bisector will have the slope of, flip it and negate it, positive 4. And our x and y now are 6 and 3. Plug it into y equals mx plus b, find out what your b is, and you are good to go. If you don't know how to do those next steps, either look up to here, because it's the same exact thing, or go to lesson 3.6. It's still there for you. All right, guys, hope this helped. You're all superstars in your hearts and minds and souls.